if you've been online, and especially if you're like me, you go on Instagram, you go on Facebook, you go on Twitter, you go on these social media platforms, and you see all of these people posting about them doing some big months. You may have seen my posts where I kind of brag sometimes about me doing $100,000 a month. But you'll see like all of these people, posting that they just bought a new Lamborghini, they just bought like a new watch, they bought, they're on some trip out in Tulum or they're in Cabo or wherever it may be, and you see other people living the time of their lives or doing all these cool things, and you look at yourself and you're like, I am not anywhere closer. I'm not doing any of those things myself, and you just can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel of that even being possible. You hear about these different businesses online. There's like Amazon. There's doing like high ticket sales. There's YouTube automation. You may see me talk about pretty frequently here, and you hear about these businesses, but you're just like, and you see people having success and you see people having results, but you're asking yourself, is that even a possibility for me, or is that even possible? Is that even on the table? Is that even in the deck of cards for me to even possibly get a similar result to them? And what I will say is probably not, unless you do the things that I'm going to talk about inside of this video, or you avoid the things that we're going to say to avoid inside of this video. You're never going to see any sort of similar result or any sort of similar success as these other people that you see, or even myself, because I'm rich, do cool stuff in my life, I'm a cool person, and I am lucky because I showed up for myself, because I bet on myself. And you, on the other hand, you don't bet on yourself. A lot of you are betting on your boss of making sure that, they're going to make sure that you know where to put your time at, so then they can extract the most amount of value out of you. But you don't bet on yourself. You bet on other people, and that is why you are where you are. And I get it, because I used to be that way as well. I didn't always used to drive supercars and travel the world and have been to 9 different countries and have a lot of rich and successful friends. And in fact, I used to be the exact same place. I bet on the system. I bet on going to college. I bet on my parents. I bet on my friends. I thought that was the place to go. I bet on the system of getting me rich. And what I had to realize was, when I went to college, I really wanted to work at Amazon. I wanted to Amazon or Google. I wanted to go be a programmer at one of those places, because I realized that if I wanted to make a ton of money, I had to get a job that was like a really high paying job. And so I started, like, as part of kind of as I was getting closer to graduating and as I got closer to getting my degree and actually getting into a job, I started to actually talk to people that were, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into their career ahead of me. And I remember very vividly, I had some conversations with these people about what does it look like working at these companies. Maybe they had some friends that were working at these companies. And a lot of them were, like, honestly just straight up telling me, yeah, like, you get to make a lot of money at working at Amazon or at working at these companies, but either A, you have to grind your face off to even be able to have the possibility or the option to go work at these companies. It's not guaranteed. And then when you do work there, they track you like a hawk. Everything's all systemized, and I can only imagine now with like AI and just the ability of using Slack and everybody going home working remote, is they're watching you like a hawk. You have to like literally ask your boss, like, hey, can I go take a shit? So you can go take a shit, and you have to tell them, hey, I'll be back in like 10 minutes or whatever. They're like counting down the clock, they're timing you, and then they'll have a weekly report where they're just like, hey, we saw that you were just spending a extra few minutes taking a shit this week, and we can't be paying for that. It's ridiculous these days. I've actually had some people at these corporate companies tell me that that's what their life was like, and they may be making some really good, incredible money there, but I don't consider that freedom. I don't consider that you have choice. I would say, if anything, you're being robbed of that choice, and you're being robbed of those options. And so now, that might be you. Maybe you're that person with the golden handcuffs, and you can afford those nice things and do those nice things, but you definitely don't have any freedom. Or maybe you're just struggling to even make some serious money online. And that's what this video is for. It's for those people that want to actually finally find a way to get rich. And when I say get rich, not just make a ton of money and have to be, like I said, have those golden handcuffs, but to be rich by yourself. And here's the thing, is these other people that you're seeing online, let's say even including myself or these other people, I remember there's this one guy, he was dumber than a box of rocks. This guy was, every single day, he would go do a YouTube video, he'd make a video, he would post it, and he would be like, yeah, I'm making this money, and then one day he buys a new Lamborghini, and then he buys another Lamborghini, and he's living out in Orange County, and he's just like living his dream life. But I'm watching this guy, and I'm just like, this guy is like stupid, like, no disrespect to the guy, but I was just like, he just doesn't sound very intelligent. Like, how he talks about things, like, he just didn't really have that incredible of like, an ability or gift of gab. And if anything, I would just say he was an introvert just trying to be on camera. You know, like maybe some of you guys can relate to that. Imagine if you were getting on camera and had to like share things, and it'd be pretty awkward for a lot of us. Like I know for me, when I first recorded videos, it was awkward as hell. But I remember watching this guy. He was awkward as hell. Had Lamborghinis. He had like the dream life. He was talking about it, and I was just like, no way. I think that's bullshit. You know, my bullshit detector was going off. But anyways, one day he goes on. I'm like, okay, I'll watch this guy. He started like going through a video, and then I remember he was going through the slide deck, and he got to a point where he was showing off like how much, you know, he got to a point where he's like, I'm gonna show you guys how much money I made. He goes and shows it to like the screenshot of like the pay stub of how much he made, and he showed that he made $320,000 that month. And he showed before, the month before, he was making $270,000. Then the month before that, he was making $220,000. And so it was that realization that I had that there's people way dumber than me that are making millions of dollars, just like you. There's other people that are way stupider than you, way dumber, that are getting rich as fuck, and you're just having to go show up to some job that you fucking hate. And I don't know about you, but you know, you can choose to go about that two ways. You can either be like, oh yeah, rich asshole guy, whatever, or you can let that piss you off and just be like, why the hell is this other person that's, you know, way less capable than me being able to live the dream life that I want to live, but I can't because I'm a loser and I don't bet on myself and I don't take advantage of the opportunities that are out there, and I'm too scared and I'm too afraid to do these things, when this other person is willing to take the risks, they're willing to take the jumps, they're willing to take the shots, and they're getting rich because you won't. It's like the old Wayne Gretzky quote, which is you miss the Wayne Gretzky quote, which is you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So if you never take any shots, if you never bet on yourself, you're never going to get rich. And so that's, you know, that brings us to point number one. Why are other people getting rich and you don't? Which is you're not taking those shots. You're not taking those, you're not giving yourself even the ability to be able to actually get rich. You're not going and starting that business. You're not uploading those videos. And if you do, you give up way too soon. You, after like a week, you give up and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm a little bitch. I'm going to give up and I'm not going to keep going forward. And it's okay to be honest with yourself, but you just got to realize that that little bitch voice is winning. And it is. And because you give up, because it's like you can't stay consistent, you can't go to the fucking gym every single day, you can't, you know, make sure that you're in the right environment and in the right rooms, you just give up too soon. And if anything, you're robbing yourself from those experiences. And that, you know, my friend, is, to be blunt with you, to be direct, is why you're holding yourself back. You are the reason why you're not getting rich right now. You are the reason why you can't have a beautiful pool with a freaking waterfall and do whatever the hell you want every life and every day and take care of your family and drive supercars and do cool stuff, is because you are letting that little bitch voice take control of your life and talk you into not taking risks. You sit there and you see that there's this $10,000 investment and you're like, I could either save that $10,000 or I can invest it. And most of you guys are being the little bitch that's like, I'm gonna save the $10,000 and never give yourself an opportunity to make more money. And that's because it's that, like, you know, your parents are like, oh, stay safe. It's like, don't be risky. Just invest in the stock market. That's, my friend, is the quick path to average life. That being said, like, if nothing happens, you know, God forbid that, you know, you don't have any circumstances where you can't work anymore, or you can't invest any money anymore, or, you know, you have to go show up for the next 40 years and then you get to have kind of a retirement. They're saying like Social Security isn't even going to be a thing anymore in like another 20-30 years because there's just not enough people fueling the system to have the Social Security. It works, it makes sense with like when it was all kind of laid out, but a lot of us are betting on the future. And it sounds like, you know, a lot of us have pain and suffering and all these things that we're putting off today, all these risks that we're putting off today, especially if you're younger, if you're in your 20s or 30s, or especially in your teenage years, you're not taking these bets, you're not taking these risks, and you're betting on the system. And if the system doesn't work out anymore, then there goes all of everything that you were being sold, all those fairy tales, all those dreams. And I mean, ask yourself, with the current like environment that we live in, does it look like the system's working? If anything, I would say the system doesn't work at all. Like, there's so many examples these days of how the system isn't working, and we're putting all of our bets into this system, into this cog of hoping that that will save us and that will, you know, get us rich and we'll be able to like actually be able to retire. I don't know about you, but if you want that, how about this? If you want that life, get off this live stream now, quit watching this video. But if you do, like, if there's part of you that's saying, I want this, I want to get rich, I want to like be able to do cool stuff in my life, I want to be able to take care of my family, I want to buy my mom a house, I want to, you know, be able to sip some lattes from your expensive espresso machine that makes really good lattes with cinnamon and honey Actually, this is pretty disgusting. I don't think you'd like it. Yeah, I don't think you guys would like that. And if you just want to keep drinking tap water, then get off this page and go keep drinking tap water. But if that's not you, if you actually want to do cool shit in your life, then listen up. Follow this instruction here. You are not going to get rich if you don't take bets, if you don't take risks, and you don't try to see what all the opportunities are and try to take advantage of all these, opportunities that are out there. Right now we live in the digital renaissance. There's so many different ways to make money. It is ridiculous. Like, our grandfathers would be sitting here just like, holy shit, like they would be taking advantage of this shit because they weren't so cracked out on dopamine and were so depressed laying in bed, because they would be getting up, they would be getting out of their ass, and they would know that if they put 80 hours into a week just sitting behind their fucking computer was significantly easier or way better of a life than just sitting at some shitty ass job with some shitty boss, or having to go like there's some guys who've been doing construction in front of my house, fixing out the water pipes. They know that like they have to go sit in the sun for like 60 hours a week. They say fuck that shit. They'd be like, this is way easier to get on the computers. But most people these days, they just don't have that comparison. We didn't grow up with knowing that there's that other opportunities out there, and it's just people are spoiled. It's too convenient. Life is too easy. The amount of people living with their parents at the age of fucking 30 is disgusting. Guys don't even like want to do the dishes anymore. They're just like, oh yeah, it's nice. My parents cook for me, and I don't have to like clean up after myself. That's fucking gross. I couldn't imagine like some hot girl being like, yeah, I love it. My boyfriend is just like, he likes to live in a pile of filth and takes no risks and doesn't get to, doesn't do anything interesting with his life, and he just stays at home. And that's why some guys, they have like 20 girlfriends, they have too many girlfriends, and then other guys, they can't even find like a single attractive woman, or even women themselves, like they can't even find like an attractive man, because they don't invest in themselves, they don't take risks, they don't have that confidence, they don't believe in themselves, and it's just destroying life. It's destroying your what you even have as an opportunity or a possibility that's right in front of you. So here's the thing. Losers don't take risks. Losers don't bet on themselves. People that have like lives where they're broke and they're not making a ton of money are people that are not betting on themselves, not taking risks, and then they're not showing up every single day and being consistent. And then also another big one that I see is they don't have a vision. Like, they don't have something they're working towards. Or if they do have a vision, it's just like some like small little minuscule thing. I believe in like being realistic with your goals, but if your dream is to only ever make like, you're like, if I make $10,000 a month, then I am set in life, and you're just like, that is my entire vision of my goal, then you're never gonna, like, if you hit that, you're gonna realize you're like, oh, there's nothing to this. So you gotta choose something to work towards, and then be open to changing those goals. For me, at first, I just wanted to drive cool cars and travel the world. Once I started doing that, I was like, okay, this isn't really all that cool. And then I was like, I want to do this instead. It was like, okay, now I want multiple supercars, or now I want to buy a watch, or now I want to build a big ass team that's badass that like helps me do really cool stuff in life. And now it's like, I want to help thousands of people get rich, because I got rich and I was like, okay, cool, now I'm able to do stuff. But it was just something about helping other people go through that transformation that was really cool. I loved it. I was good at it. I was great at helping people realize what was holding them back from getting rich. And I just, found a way to A, make a ton of money off of it, and then also B, help a ton of people with it and get in front of a lot of people's faces, because I was able to always be consistent, and I was always able to show up. And me being consistent and always showing up allowed other people to realize that they can be consistent and they can always show up and bet on themselves. And so here's the thing. Other people are getting rich because they take the shots. They take the risk. They give themselves the opportunity. They put themselves in the room. They're going to be way less talented than you. They're, way less skilled. They know way less than you. Honestly, there's a lot of stupid people that I meet in these rooms, but the reason why they're successful is just because they're there. They show up. They're the ones that gave themselves that opportunity. They're the ones that gave themselves that shot. They're the ones that showed up. They put themselves in there, even though they were, maybe super delusional and didn't even realize, that they were lacking anything. They just felt like they needed to be in there, and that they were more capable than the other person, than you. They thought they were more deserving and more worthy of it than you did, because you rob yourself from that deservingness of getting rich and being able to be into those rooms. Jack on Instagram asked, what are the best business models to start at the moment? So you just have to have a real analysis of like what are the resources that you have. You know, do you have a lot of money? Do you have a lot of time? Or, you know, do you have both? So that's kind of the question here is like, or do you have none of those? So I'll kind of go through each one as to like what you want to look out for, like, you know, based off the variables. And then from there, I'll kind of go through like, you know, how I got rich with, I've been in all those circumstances. I've had a lot of time and no money. I've also had a lot of money and no time. I've had a lot of time and money. That's always the best circumstance. And I've had no money and no time, and I still found a way to make things happen. So if you have a lot of time, you know, if you just don't have a lot of money, maybe you're like, you really don't have much income or anything like that. To be honest with you, I would say probably go get a job. Like, I know I was just talking about like, you know, taking risks and all that stuff. I would probably go get a job, start saving up, start creating like extra income. I talk to some people and they have like 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and they're just able to start kind of setting aside money. I will say, you know, name a business out there that requires no money to get started. Name a single business. There's not a single business that you can name. There's things you could do, like, you know, oh, you could do a trash truck service. Okay, yeah, you got to have the truck and you have to change your time. You could always like flip couches and stuff. That's not a business. That's not something that's like, you know, you can rinse and repeat. You can't really hire people to do that. You have to go and show up and do it. Now, you can totally go do those things in those arbitrage ways, you know, flip shoes or whatever. You can go do that, but that's not a business. That's not something that's going to just churn out cash flow and allow you to go do things. So you can do those things to go get some money. You know, you can go hustle to go get something, like to go get some money to invest into yourself. You can go drive Uber and Lyft to go, like, you know, hustle some money, but it's not a business. So you got to do something to get an income. I've had some people, you know, they drive on Uber. Some people do Postmates. Some people, you know, just go get a job just to like have that consistent income in. So at least you know, and then reduce your expenses to like as little as it possibly can be. Like get roommates. Go try to, you know, do whatever you can to just start getting some cash flow going and start stacking up some cash. And then what I would do is every little bit of like extra money, if it's $300 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, then I would try to start taking that money, and instead of putting it into the S&P 500, I would put it into, as Alex Ramosi says, the SME 500. So invest that money instead of into something else, invest it into yourself, into education, into knowledge, into ads, into product, into making videos. And take those things and invest it into making assets, into selling things, into starting your business, into, you know, let's say you're starting up an agency or whatever. Just start taking that extra spare cash and start investing it into yourself and your education. Go make some videos. Go spend $3,000 on videos and have them all fail, but learn from those experiences and take that experiences to get better at making content. That's what I did. Or, you know, go use it to go spend it on $3,000 on ads and products, have it fail, but you have a learning experience that you've gotten out of that and use it as your learning lesson. Or go use it to day trade, go spend all of it and go lose all of that money, so that way you can get better at the process and to learn through the experience. Because I'm a big believer of, if you don't take risks, if you don't invest money, you know, think about it, you had to trade 40 hours to make this, let's say $500. 40 hours of your time was equal to $500. Now, let's say you go lose all that $500, you get to sit there and realize that I just spent a week of my life working my ass off and I just lost all that money. That's good. Most people are like, oh, like my little bitch voice, like, oh, this fucking sucks, you know? But instead, that's a win. That means you have been experienced. That means like you get to take that experience with you into the next experience. You're like, okay, that sucked. I just saw $500 go and I lost it. Cool. You know, it was 40 hours of my life or whatever. Or that was, you know, if it was $1,000, maybe it was 80 hours of your life, or whatever. Cool, awesome, great. I lost a lot of money. I've worked my ass off for a ton of money to make like, you know, 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, and then I lose all of it and I'm back at square zero. But you're never back at square zero, because yeah, you may be back at no money, but you plus one experience. Experience is way more valuable than any sort of amount of money. And like the analogy I have for that is like, imagine if Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk lost all of their money and they had to start back from scratch tomorrow. How quick would they be a millionaire or a billionaire? Like that. Because they have those experiences, because they know what they need to do, because they have those connections, those relationships. They can go get $1 billion literally like overnight as soon as they lost everything. And that's because of the positioning that they have set themselves up with. And that is the thing that you are robbing yourself from by not taking those risks and taking those investments. The amount of time that I've lost way more money than I've probably made at this point. You know, maybe I'm just like up a little bit in comparison of the amount of failures. I have made every mistake in the book, and that is why I'm rich, because I don't care about the failure. I just don't care. Like if I lose everything, I'm like, cool, sweet, we get to start over again. Like I've had so many times where I didn't have the money for rent. I didn't, like, you know, I didn't have the money to to pay people. I didn't like have the money to run the ads. I didn't have, I didn't have the money to get content up. I've had so many times and occasions where I got back to zero, but actually I was not at zero. I was richer in experiences, in knowledge, in knowing what I would do if I was in that circumstance or that situation again. And so that's the main thing, is if you don't have the money, but you have the time, find a way to start getting the money to come in, and now use that extra little bit of time or the extra money to start investing in yourself into your thing. Now, if you have money and time, if you have both of those, then you're in a good spot. That means, start investing into a business, start probably doing something that's a little bit more long term. You could do something like Faceless YouTube channels. That's a great opportunity if you have time and money. It works too if you just have money or if you just have time, but you need a little bit of both ultimately. A little bit of the one that you're lacking a bit. And other things you could do if you have a ton of money but you don't have time, you can maybe start taking less hours, or get another job that maybe requires less hours so you can like work while you're at the job. Trying to find a way that you're still getting kind of paid or compensated for your time. Maybe it's like, let's say you're already making $8,000 a month. Maybe there's another job, or maybe there's a way or work relationship you can work to where you can work from home and you can work on your business and your job at the same time, because you don't have a boss like freaking glaring over your shoulders. So that's what I would do. And then if you don't have any money or any time, then what I would do then at that point is you got to reevaluate your life and start making some better decisions here. Asking yourself, am I going down the right path? Is this the right direction for me? Maybe you're at the wrong job. Maybe what you need to do is quit that job and go find something else that is a little bit more supplemental or a little bit better. Maybe you got to move to a different place. If you don't see the vision of like where you are to where you're going, and it's very hazy, it's very foggy, and you just don't know how you're going to get there, then what you need to do is you need to go journal. You need to go sit in the shower for a while. You need to go like reevaluate your life and ask yourself, is this the best direction that I should be going? So I know this was kind of a long way of saying like, what are the best business opportunities? You got to kind of evaluate your circumstances. What resources do you have? What time do you have? And you want to find the thing that's like the lowest resistance for you to get started. So some of the best business models out there right now I see are like drop shipping. Sounds great. I see people doing TikTok shop. The only thing about TikTok shop is you don't own it. It's maybe good for marketing experience, but it's kind of, you don't really own the thing. You have to constantly make videos to even possibly make money. So you want something that's like, it compounds as you're going with it. So something that's like, you get something, you create the thing, and then when you create another thing, it compounds onto that. It has a compounding effect that's created. So you need something that has a compounding effect. So that way, as you get more time, as you create more, as you do more business, it's able to compound and have this compounding effect to make you more and more money. And so, Amazon, it costs a lot of money to get started, and you kind of have to risk a lot. And then also you're kind of subject to Amazon's policies and stuff like that. So you'll always be subject to the policies of what you're doing, but it you have to kind of ask yourself, with Amazon, if you lose it, it's kind of hard to go set up another store. But versus like if something happens to, let's say, like a YouTube channel, you just set up another YouTube channel. The amount of times that I've had a YouTube channel just totally flop, I would just take down the videos. Like whatever, something happens with YouTube, I'll take down the videos and I'll just upload them onto another channel, and I'll get remonetized and I'll be making money again like that, because there's just really no time delay. So that's why YouTube automation is like one of the best, or Faceless YouTube channels. I'm very biased, obviously, but also I've just made a ton of money with it, and I've helped a lot of other people make a ton of money with it. It doesn't require a lot with these days, especially with like the AI tools and all that stuff. And then also with when it comes to making videos, it compounds on top of it. So you can have one video that gets, let's say, 3 million views a year, and you can, as you have that video, it sets a baseline of, okay, this one video is making, let's say, $300, $500 a month. And as you keep making more and more videos, it starts to compound and starts to build this huge snowball effect of you being able to make more and more money by being able to reinvest, making more content. Or like I have some channels where, they make $16,000 a month. Let's say the cost to produce those 16 grand a month is, let's say, like $3 grand, $4 grand. And it's profitable, like up $10,000, $12,000 a month. And it's pretty much on autopilot. It runs itself. We have people that go produce the videos and everything that's on top of it. And what's cool is once you have something that's profiting you like 10 grand a month, now you have the ability to go do more channels, or if you want to start other businesses, you totally can, because now you have that consistent income and that consistent cash flow. So in my opinion, faceless YouTube channels is the best for that reason.
In the recording of this, I just wanted to recap. So the reason why other people are getting rich is because they take action. They put themselves in the room. They feel like they deserve it, and then they show up for themselves very consistently, and they don't give up, and they take very big risks. So if you want to get rich, just like other people, do that. So if you guys got any value out of this video whatsoever, make sure to subscribe and go check out this video right here.